Hi, this is Stephanie with Healing Sounds Music Therapy, and I'm starting a video series about self-care, and this is the first video. So I wanted to talk about the importance of self-care. So often when I have clients in my office or I'm out doing presentations or talking with women, so often they ask me, isn't self-care just being selfish? Isn't that a selfish way to act or a selfish way to conduct your life? And my answer to that is no. Self-care is really, really very important because if we think about, now this might sound a little bit silly, but go with me here. Think about our lives as bank accounts, okay? And for every relationship you have in your life, there's an account for that. So if you're married, there's an account for your marriage, for your spouse. If you have children, there's another account for your kids. If you serve, if you work, there's an account for your work. If you volunteer or you serve or whatever else, whatever other situation you might have in your own life, each of those things has its own bank account. So you've got to continuously, just like your real life bank account, you've got to continuously be putting funds into each of those accounts because eventually, you're going to have to write a check or you're going to have to use that debit card and pay for something out of your marriage account. Maybe your spouse wants to go do an activity that is their favorite thing to do, but is your not so favorite thing to do. So you're going to have to write a check out of your marriage account to use for that activity. Does that kind of make sense there? So there's an exchange of energy and good wishes and well-being from that account. The same with your kids. You've got to continuously be putting funds into that account, that emotional energy account, to pay for some of those things that those people require from you. The same thing is true for yourself. We have a bank account, an emotional energy bank account for ourselves, and if we're not putting things into it, then the funds run low, we get overdrawn, and that's when we start to feel really stressed, really overwhelmed, maybe more emotional. Maybe our tolerance level goes really down, our fuse gets pretty short, and we're cranky, we're grumpy, we're snapping at people, we're not nice to be around. And that's because our bank accounts are overdrawn. And it's time that we put something back in there. And that's where self-care comes in. That's why it's so important. Because if our personal energy emotional bank account is empty, then how are we going to be able to fill up the rest of those accounts? How are we going to be able to answer the needs of all the other people in our lives? We're not going to be able to, or if we do, we're going to start to feel resentful or angry, or we're not going to do it, or we're going to have negative feelings about it. And that's not how we want to have our relationships be with our family, with our children, with our coworkers. So that's why it's so important to fill up that self-care account. So in the following videos, I'm going to talk about different ways that we can do that. But for this first video, I wanted to spend the time and make the point that self-care is not selfish. It's taking care of something that's really important to us primarily, but it also has that trickle-down effect of being important to all those people around us. So tune in for the rest of the videos. I hope you find it useful. As always, please leave comments in the comment section if you have any ideas or feedback, or you just want to comment or have a question. I'd love to see those comments. So feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see you in the following videos. Thanks for tuning in.